Hello everyone, in this video I'm going to be talking about how I personally am building a luxury brand from scratch. I have been running a brand called Pathos of Things for about 5 years. This is the website. I'll do a little refresh. Over the last few years I've learned quite a few things that are extremely important for starting a luxury brand. I actually started as an anime streetwear brand, and I was a bit of an Alibaba brand. And then I started getting into cut and sew, and now I'm actually trying to make like a full transition into being a luxury creative director and brand owner for a luxury brand. So it's been a long process. I still have a long ways to go, but I figured I would share some of the key things that are keeping me moving and making progress, despite doing this completely by myself, self-funding it, having no investor. The main areas related to starting a luxury brand that I've identified are the design system, high quality products, lots of really good content, an excellent e-commerce experience, a streamlined operation system so you can get products shipped to customers on time, and a marketing strategy through email marketing, paid ads, influencer partnerships, and seasonal promotions. So I plan on making videos for each of these subtopics one by one, but I'm going to give a little bit of an overview for each of them in this video. Starting with the design system. If you are unfamiliar with a design system, it's basically like a rule book that helps keep everything about a brand's design consistent and easy to use, whether it's on the website, on an app, or in the product itself, or in the product packaging. It includes all the guidelines for how things should look and work, like the colors, fonts, and even how buttons or images are placed. This system makes sure that no matter where you see the brand on social media, in an ad, or in a store, it all feels connected and familiar. And it also helps designers and developers work faster by giving them a clear set of instructions to follow. This design system is going to create a unique brand identity, and it's going to allow consistency across all channels. Unique brand identity is going to be represented by the logo, typography, and color palette. You want to make sure that all the channels include social media, press and editorial, your website, and the packaging. I personally am making a conscious effort to consistently apply the design system across all platforms, and my last collection had an unfinished design system. The website and the social media content had different logos and fonts than the garments and packaging, which was a huge blunder. This really created issues for me, and I think the brand would have gone a lot further and the collection would have made more money if the logo and the typography are more consistent. Next is high quality products. When I first started, my brand was an anime streetwear brand. I was just making designs in Adobe Illustrator that I thought were cool, and I was slapping them on t-shirts and doing print on demand. After that, I started designing with mock-up packs and tech pack templates, and I would send those to a manufacturer in China that I found through Alibaba. Basically, that was a step up from doing the print-on-demand thing, but it wasn't quite luxury. Actually wasn't really luxury at all, even though I thought the products I was making were getting close to a luxury brand. But now I'm sourcing premium fabrics and materials that look and feel luxurious and are actually luxurious to justify a higher price point. For the last collection, I used a high GSM jersey for everything, like the cotton t-shirts, terry fleece hoodies. I just asked for the highest GSM. So I ended up getting 280 GSM t-shirts and 560 GSM terry fleece hoodies, which are really, really thick and they were really warm. So it made people sweat in seasons that weren't the winter. There were issues with the fabric dye coming out in the washer. So there were lots of issues, even though I thought I was getting a high quality product just by asking for the highest GSM or grams per square meter. It isn't that simple. I'll make a whole video about luxury materials. Next, I'm getting all of my products manufactured in the US. I haven't released any made in the US products yet. They're currently all being sampled, and I'm not going to show anything until I feel comfortable. But I plan on showcasing the domestic production of all future garments, emphasizing American craftsmanship, ethical labor practices, and supporting the local economy. For all USA-based manufacturing, I use Malengo. I highly recommend checking Malengo out. Tell them that Chris Drago sent you. The last way I'm really upping the quality of my products is through custom designs. I'm going beyond designing with mockups and printing on blanks. I'm using Clo3D to create custom designs, tech packs, and patterns. I will give these tech packs and patterns directly to the manufacturer to begin sample production immediately. So this has been really good for me, especially working with a company like Malengo. They are based in the US, so I'm not worried about the Chinese time difference, and they get back to me right on time, which is amazing. But as long as I have a tech pack and a pattern done for a cut and sew garment, I can send that directly to them and they can talk with the factory, get all the fabrics ordered, and start sample production right away. I don't have to worry about going back and forth with them about the design and the pattern because I already make it in Clo 3D first. I'm ready to go. Okay, next is content. So for my last collection, I really only focused on e-commerce content. I didn't make any founder content like at all. I barely made any lifestyle content, and I had editorial video, but I didn't necessarily have editorial photos. So it was kind of like half and half here. But with the e-commerce content in the future, I'm going to continue to invest in high quality e-commerce photos. This time I'm focusing on menswear instead of unisex, so I will only hire one model. For my last collection, I did a unisex collection. I had 4 models. That was way too many. My goal here is just to sell product. This is going to have limited art direction. Most of the photos are probably just going to be shot against a white background. The point of shooting against a white background is to eliminate distractions from the clothes. You just want to focus on the clothes, the details of the clothes. These photos will live primarily on product pages on the website. Next, for editorial, I plan on producing content with high art direction standards suitable for fashion editorials. I kind of had some editorial video, but not many editorial photos. One item from the last collection was actually featured in GQ in both print and digital formats. That was really cool. But that's definitely not the last editorial opportunity that I'm going to get. As I get more editorial opportunities, I'm going to need to invest more in editorial content. I can't just be using my e-commerce content for GQ editorial. The e-commerce content really is just for the website. The goal with the editorial content is to sell a feeling or a vibe. Next, for lifestyle content, I'm going to take photos and videos in places that reflect the lifestyle my audience dreams of or wants to have. My last collection featured very few lifestyle photos. Pretty much all the content was shot against a white background, which is not very good at selling a lifestyle. Not everybody has even been in front of a white background or a cyclorama or been a part of a shoot in the first place. So if all of the content looks like e-commerce content, it's going to be hard for people to imagine themselves wearing the clothing and what situation they would wear that clothing in. For example, the lifestyle I'm trying to sell with my next collection is way more focused on mid-20s men that live in a city that want to wear these clothes on a date or for an event or at a network. It's going to make them feel confident, and it's going to help them perform at the best of their ability. So I would probably take lifestyle photos at night in a city. And then founder content. I need to feature the founder, which is me, to add authenticity and build trust. My goal is to communicate the brand's mission, values, and journey to inspire and engage the audience. Me making this YouTube video and explaining my process is a form of founder content. There will be lots of different types of founder content that I make in the future, but for now, this is my way of getting my ideas out there before I release a new collection. A brand that does founder content really, really well, I think, is Represent. So those two founders, the brothers, George and Michael Heaton, both make awesome content in their own lanes. George is more in your face. He's more the face of the brand, where Michael is more behind the scenes. I think I've heard people refer to his style as a little bit more introverted, where George is more extroverted. For me, I'm a little bit of a mix between extroverted and introverted. So I'm going to be making more business style content on YouTube. My Instagram is a little more low key. I only post highlights and some hyper curated content that looks professional. Next is an excellent e-commerce experience. I use Shopify. I recommend that everybody uses Shopify at this point. I'm pretty sure it's just industry standard. All of the luxury brands that I follow have Shopify pages. In the past, I used the baseline premium theme, and then I made custom changes to it, which made it a hybrid site. It wasn't completely custom, but it wasn't completely a template either. I'm probably going to continue to use the hybrid model in the future. I don't know if I'm going to use the baseline theme as the starting point anymore. I've used that for about 2 years. I continue to use plugins that improve functionality without compromising site speed. I feel like that's a big issue for a lot of brands that use Shopify, is that they add a bunch of plugins like upsell and bundles and reviews, and it ends up actually bogging down the speed of the site, which is super important. You need site speed to be in the 90s to 100 range on Shopify. Otherwise, you are going to be at a disadvantage. So that's site speed optimization. Tried to streamline checkout for the last collection. I feel like there are ways that I could streamline it even further. This is pretty huge to reduce friction and cart abandonment. I want to make sure that anyone that abandons their cart automatically gets an email or a notification, or the way that the checkout is set up will just encourage them to buy and not leave the site. And then more info. I really need to add more info. For a while, I didn't have a lot of info about my brand. I was kind of just trying everything, right? But now I have a little bit more of a story. I have more of a mission. I have a consistent manufacturer. I need to add all of that information about shipping times, return policies, sustainability, brand story, manufacturing, etc. on my website to build customer confidence. This is huge. If someone comes to my website and they can't figure out what I'm all about, or they feel like it might be sketchy because there's not enough information, they're just going to dip. They're not going to buy anything. They're not even going to add anything to the cart. So it's a waste of ad spend, especially if I used paid ads to get that person onto my site and then they feel like it's a little sketchy or they're not totally convinced and confident, then that's a waste of budget. Next is operations, which was probably the most difficult for me to figure out. I was shipping all of my products by myself, which was a huge pain in the ass, and I don't want to do that ever again. So now I use third-party logistics. I personally use Pietra. I know that other brands I trust use ShipBob. Pietra and ShipBob are both reliable partners for me, and they allow me to create an enjoyable unboxing experience for the customer, and they allow me to ship very quickly, which also just adds to the experience for the customer. I will continue working with shipping providers known for handling luxury goods carefully and promptly, and I need to enhance the packaging to provide a more memorable unboxing moment that reflects the brand's quality. For my last collection, I used very basic poly mailers. Maybe I had a thank you card in there, but it was kind of ugly. And I think ugly and bad packaging makes the brand feel low quality. So I really want to upgrade that for the next collection. Inventory strategy is also really important and something that I struggled with in the past. I'm sure anyone watching this video has probably seen lots of content about the bulk order versus pre-order method. I did the pre-order method in the past. I also did the bulk order method. I've just consistently now do the bulk order method because I was able to get a low minimum order quantity with my manufacturer. So it's just better for me to budget everything factoring in the bulk order first. That way I can actually give same week shipping, because the modern consumer typically wants same week shipping, with Amazon and TikTok Shop usually offering same day or 2-day shipping. So in order to compete with that at all, I find that I need to do the bulk order method. Tracking inventory is really important, but using something like Pietra makes that super simple. So restocking is a little bit of an art form. I typically restock when the stock for an item is getting around 40%. Once I've sold about 60% of the stock, I place an order for a restock. That way I can just keep the inventory rolling. I'm not out of stock for too long, if at all. The goal really, in order to continue having cash flow, is not really to sell out. I know a lot of brands are all about the sellout. They think it's like super important to use that even as marketing material. Like, I sold out my last drop. If your brand has cash flow, you're restocking constantly and making sure that everyone gets emailed when you restock, you have ads going out when you restock, and you're tracking everything. And then now that leads me to budgeting. I'm going to allocate resources wisely between production, marketing, and operations to ensure sustainability. The last thing that I want or need is a slow week or a slow 2 weeks because I'm out of stock, or I spend too much on ads, or I spend too much on inventory, and then I'm stuck with a lot of stock for a while. All of these things can be solved with proper budgeting. And then last but not least is the marketing. There are 4 main pillars of marketing that I focus on. Those are email marketing, paid ads, influencer partnerships, and then seasonal promotions. So with email marketing, there's really 2 main things to focus on: automated flows and lead magnets and pop-ups. For automated flows, I use Klaviyo. I have a welcome series, abandoned cart reminders, and post-purchase follow-ups. For lead magnets and pop-ups, I find that a lot of brands will just give a 10% discount in return for an email address, but I don't know how much longer that's going to work. I feel like the consumer wants more or something more personalized. So I'm planning on giving away style guides and PDF lookbooks in return for email addresses. And then those style guides and PDF lookbooks will also have a 10% discount. But the 10% discount isn't the only thing enticing them to give me their email address. For paid ads, it's super important to set up pixels, Facebook pixel, TikTok pixel, so you can see all the analytics and track the performance of your ads. My strategy typically only involves Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok ads up to $30K a month in cash flow. After that, I branch out to YouTube and Google ads. But until then, branching out into YouTube and Google ads typically diversifies your ad spend a little bit too much. I find that focusing on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok lets you really cook these pixels with data, and then that gives you better results in the end. For influencer partnerships, I only want to collaborate with influencers who align with the brand's aesthetic. When I was doing anime-inspired streetwear, the only influencers that wanted to work with me were e-girl OnlyFans streamers, which was cool, and I went with that for a while, but now that's not really my thing anymore. So I'm not going to work with influencers like that. Just because someone is an influencer doesn't mean that you should work with them. You really want to only collaborate with influencers who align with the aesthetic of your brand. Otherwise, their audience is just not going to understand it. And then seasonal promotions. I see brands doing promotions like every 6 to 8 weeks. When I worked in e-commerce marketing, I ran a sale for the brands every 6 to 8 weeks. The reason why we would do that is to move slow selling stock, create hype, create quick cash flow. And then the biggest issue was to not overdo it. Customers will start to expect discounts and then only purchase when there's a sale or a discount or a holiday sale or something. And that's really bad. You don't want your brand to just be associated with discounts. It's going to lower the perceived value of the brand by a lot, and you're going to make less money. So that is it for this video. In future videos, I'm going to be breaking down all of these individual components of the system in much more detail, and I'm sure you'll learn something new or find something valuable in those. Please like and subscribe if you did find something new or learn something new in this video and you want to learn more. Again, I am Chris Drago. My brand is Pathos of Things. I'll leave all of the links to my projects in the description. I look forward to seeing you in the next video.